AI, tech, software engineering, neuroscience, productivity, data privacy, data security, crypto, quantum computing, black holes, all this stuff. Good morning, guys. Not sure where to look. These are all the things that I thought about this morning. I want to talk about I'll just talk about them in order. First, I'll talk about the placebo effect. But before I get into that, let me tell you what the point of this video is today. The point of this video is to talk about my ideas about AI, tech, software engineering, neuroscience, productivity, data privacy, data security, crypto, quantum computing, black holes, all this stuff. I want to talk about it and I want to get feedback on my ideas. And I will share the results of that feedback with you all. I think that these are some important topics. I think that one of the things we need in the world is a way to validate our ideas with each other. We know that the more diverse ideas that you have coming from diverse experiences, the better results you're gonna get in terms of determining what's true, especially from believable people. So let's get into it. So I'm hoping some believable people will give me some feedback. And also, like I showed you guys yesterday, I built a platform for A/B testing. Anyone can use it. It's literally just a way of writing software. Definitely check that out. But so speaking of experimentation, let's get into the placebo effect. There has been pretty recent research on the placebo effect coming from researchers like Aaliyah Crum at Stanford, going back to, I think, some of the research of Carol Dweck and growth mindset. But the point of it, and why I put it on here, is that I think we don't realize the significance of the impact that we have on each other in terms of our own decision making. That is, we can be influenced by other people and social norms. And I think understanding that is going to it could help us solve a lot of problems. So I put the placebo effect because what they're talking about in TED Talks about placebo effect and podcasts, they're saying that there could be a way to use the placebo effect ethically. And I think that a platform for experimentation that is completely open, anyone can use it, and you can opt into stuff instead of just like having to use some big central service that runs experiments on you. You can create your own tests. People who are in the experiment will know that they're in the experiment, but they're willingly in the experiment, just like regular research subjects, because they know that contributing to that experiment will give them a better model of reality so that they can make better decisions. So that's why I want to talk about the placebo effect. And then let's talk about meditation. So every morning I meditate, or I try to, right? So this is actually my habit tracker. So this was last week. I meditated 4 out of 7 days. And this week I meditated 3 out of 6 days so far. When I meditate, I do different forms, but there's like 3 main ones, really 2 main ones. One is some kind of form of transcendental meditation, which is just repeating a phrase that's kind of meaningless. Like a popular one is Om. So if you just repeat that, you can start out loud if you want to, but I just do it in my head and I rest my attention on the word Om, or the phrase Om. And when you do that, it gives you a point of reference that you can direct your attention towards that doesn't necessarily have much of a meaning. And by doing that, you free up the other areas of your brain to kind of do what they want. When they do what they want, eventually they will bubble some stuff up to your conscious again, and you won't be able to keep your attention on that meaningless phrase. That's almost inevitable. But the more you practice and the deeper you get into the meditation, the more that tends to occur for me, and I think most people. Let's see. So why did I mention that? Okay, so the other type of meditation that I sometimes do is, I think, what's called Vipassana meditations, which is just paying attention to your breath. I started with that around the beginning and I couldn't get into it because when I would pay attention to my breath, I would kind of get anxious about my breathing, and then that would seem to mess up my breathing and it wouldn't feel natural, and I would feel bad physically and frustrating mentally. So I switched to the Om thing that I got from Ray Dalio, there's a lot of people that do transcendental meditation, like Oprah, what's his name? That just died, sorry, but he was a director. And a lot of people, Jerry Seinfeld. But I think that kind of the way I described it might be, the way I described it about focusing your attention on one thing that allows your subconscious mind to kind of wander and work with each other and then bubble something kind of more important back up to the top. Then when you realize that your attention is now on whatever that has bubbled up, they say to kind of accept it and just notice that that has happened and gently rest your attention back on the thing that you were resting it on before. Now, that's where people get tripped up a lot because they may think that they are failing the meditation. But I've heard Andrew Huberman talk about this. Like he wants to call meditation basically returning attention or like bringing back focus or something like that. And I agree with that. I think that the actual observation of your mind and the fact that it's almost inevitable that you will lose your attention, just noticing that gives you a reality check. It lets you see that you're not really in as much control over the things that come up to your conscious mind, the things that come up to your awareness, than you might think. And that by stepping back and observing what the higher order process that's going on, you increase your belief in the idea that, hey, if I do not eat this chocolate cake, I'll probably feel better in the long run. My brain, my subconscious brain might bubble up some more relative stuff, some more rational stuff. And so, maybe I kind of don't want to eat that cake or skip this workout or, not go for that run or like spend this money that I shouldn't spend or something like that. Not that I spend any money that I shouldn't spend or do all those things. So you can see how during my meditation, actually, you can see how meditation is a lot like the placebo effect. Because today I did a loving kindness meditation because my tracker showed that my love was like kind of going down. And I don't know if I agree with that 100%, but I do think that I haven't been showing as much self-love as I should and what's good for my well-being, So, and it's really just being, patient with myself and being that objective observer and doing the things that I just mentioned, right? Like not giving into impulses and all this stuff that everyone does. We all do it. When I realized that, I was like, oh yeah, so I was doing a loving kindness meditation, which is literally just like, the only way that I've done it is listen to someone talk about, like guide me through the meditation, which is just to say to yourself, you basically focus on yourself and you say, may you be loved, may you be well, may you be comfortable, may you be something else, at peace. So then he tells you to, notice how you feel after you say those things to yourself, and you do feel better. Like you can't, if you're doing it with an open mind, you do feel better. And I think it's that key of having an open mind. And I think that's like the growth mindset part. That sounds woo-woo, right? Or whatever they said, spiritual. But I think it's, what the science is telling us is that mindset actually has an impact on your behavior. And I think a better way to look at it is that it has an impact on your desires and your wants and needs and all that stuff, your habits. So I think that the more we realize that, no pun intended, I know this is confusing, it's very meta, and me just saying that is pretty meta. And also, by the way, this is a huge tangent, but the loving kindness word for love, I think, is literally metta or something like that, which is funny. Okay, but you can see how meditation is like kind of a placebo effect on yourself that you're just allowing yourself to do, which I thought of that because the dude's voice on the guided meditation was kind of like weird, like spiritual. And I was like, it sounds like he's like trying to hypnotize me, which I thought about it. And that's literally what I think it is. I've heard it said before, I can't remember by who, that meditation literally is just a placebo effect that you do on yourself. And their point is that that's okay. And so what I think people might tend to do is meditating more. A lot of smart people think that. I can link like a video where all the people that advocate for meditating, that are successful, normal, likable, believable people that you find yourself similar to. And yeah, I think that I agree with them. I think that meditation is going to become more prevalent and people will realize its usefulness. I think it's helped me a ton, by the way. I know I've talked about that before. And I think it's really interesting to investigate this relationship between these two things, meditation and placebo effect. And also, you know, tying it back to the system I'm working on in terms of software and really how we use technology to communicate with each other and live our lives. I think that understanding the impact that using technology has on us, the way it shapes message passing among people in society, how that mirrors agent networks and just AI, deep learning, neural networks with forward propagation and backward propagation, updates to weights over time, what's believable, probabilities, that all has a ton of overlap. And really what I'm doing with these videos is trying to get my ideas out there to get them validated. And you know, I'm building a system to do that on the way because I think it's a good thing to have. Hopefully these videos aren't too crazy. Hopefully I reach the right audience. And I think that I can do that with a good A/B testing platform, just like all the other marketers do. What I want to get into next at some point, I definitely want to get in more to these two topics, agent networks and AI and communication, because this is more of the software part of it. But after I maybe dive into those at some point, I do want to get into some of this stuff. Like I already touched on, like part of a good system for working together is, and oh yeah, okay, so how does this help us save us from AI? I think a lot of these things will play into it quite a bit. So I think that, you know, there's a big problem about fake news and how do you know what's real? How do you know what's true? Back to basics, we know the people that we do kind of trust because we are with them. We grew up with them. We've been around, we have a lot of experience with them, and we have a good model of, you know, who they are, what kind of decisions they make, their goals, their secrets sometimes, how they are with us and how we are with them. And we trust some people. If you look out the world, there are some people that you trust. And specifically, you trust them for certain domains. You trust them in certain domains, like whether a decision will be good or bad. Like you actually trust their predictions. And that's like based on their feedback and your experience with them. And so we feel today like there's not a lot of people we trust, I think, but there are some people, and sometimes those people are really smart and valuable to us, helpful for us, just being good people. And so we should lean into that. We should figure out how we can make a system where we are seeing the information from the people that we really believe. I think like YouTube algorithms are pretty good at that, but they also do have some kind of like that dark rabbit hole tendency, which is good for, I think, their business model in many ways, which maybe is a little bit harder to measure, but, and it's also not transparent at all. Like the only way we can recognize that is through anecdotes and studies that are probably underfunded and things like that. So we don't have good visibility into that. So I think that this is going to be a big part of the important systems coming, as AI advances and as society advances and how we are with each other advances. So I kind of get this from Ray Dalio. That's a believable that's one of my believable people, and just very meta. I'm gonna stop saying that. Okay, so I'm going over time. I already went over time. I will get into these things soon, one way or another, and I hope you guys like this video. Subscribe if you're not. Give me some feedback. Check out all the apps and stuff, all my links. Let me know what's confusing and hang in there. Like, I know that these videos are not perfect. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I'm just talking to some cameras right now, but I know you guys are out there and you're real. And I think that by building something that is like a platform for figuring out what's true and what people really think and communicating in a better way that's more transparent, more real, and more helpful, we can build a cool system, a cool community, or something like that, where hopefully that can grow and we can make the world a better place, right? Yeah, okay. Peace out, guys.
Guys!